Alright, on today's favorite figures video, I want to talk about what I think is a really underrated Megatron, and that is Combiner Wars Megatron. Now, I like him for a number of reasons. I know a lot of people don't like him because of how big he is, and he is a little bit clunky in some ways, but I think he has tons of positives. First of all, I like his design. For being a tank Megatron, we have had a few more clunky tank Megatrons that are usually really bulky or kind of stubby, like the Siege one, but this guy has a really nice silhouette, I think, and he doesn't have a lot of kibble either. He just has this backpack, which is kind of big, but it's also really clean looking, in my opinion. It's very simple, very clean, and another big thing that I really like is he has actual working rubber treads, which is always really cool to me when a figure has actual rubber tires, or even better, rubber treads. So that makes him a good tank Megatron, in my opinion. But I think he also has a stellar color scheme and paint job. For one thing, he has this kind of shiny, reflective, metallic finish to him, and I'm an absolute sucker for that. That's what makes him stand out most on my shelf, I think, compared to other Megatrons like the Masterpiece Megatron or even the 35th Anniversary Siege Megatron. In addition to the silver gunmetal gray, he's got some purple highlights, a little bit of blue, of course red highlights all over him, and even some yellow there on his stomach. And I really appreciate when they include colors that just add a little bit of highlight, even if they're not prominent on the whole figure. And of course, he wouldn't be one of my favorite figures if he didn't have some decent poseability. So he's got the waist joint, which I really appreciate. He's got pretty solid movement in his legs, nice sturdy ratchet joint at the knee there. He kind of has an ankle tilt, or a sort of foot joint because of his transformation. And he's got really solid arm joints, and again, because of his transformation, he has kind of this inward shoulder mobility here that adds some nice expression to his poses. And a really solid head sculpt, I might add. And yeah, he's got the kind of posability that I like to see. Now, he also has mini-con ports, which are of course rare for a figure that is this far away from Armada. And of course, these ports make more sense when you consider that this mold was used for the Combiner Wars Armada Megatron, and I'm actually not a big fan of Combiner Wars Armada Megatron. I don't even have him. I would like to see that design done more faithfully, but the fact that this guy has mini-con ports is a plus to me. So there is Leader 1 there on his shoulder, attached. This shoulder one is the only really visible one in robot mode, but it's in a solid place for a mini-con like Leader 1 to add some firepower there on his shoulder. And of course, he's got these two in the back, which make more sense in vehicle mode. But yeah, mini-con ports are always a plus for me because mini-cons are one of my favorite gimmicks, being a big Armada fan, and the fact that he has them is a plus. And a quick look at his vehicle mode. I think this is a really solid tank mode, not just for Megatron, but in general, this is just a great looking tank alternate mode for Transformer. He looks pretty clean from all angles, even the bottom there I think looks pretty clean. No super exposed kibble or head or anything like that. Everything ties together quite nicely in my opinion. And of course we've got the rotating turret, which is really nice. It can rotate quite far on either side. And I've got Leader 1 plugged in to the mini-con port right there, so mini-cons look nice in this figure. The paint job, of course, looks just as nice in this mode as the other mode. We've got a nice Decepticon symbol right there at the front. And he does have a missile in the turret, which is very non-intrusive. If you don't want it there, you can always just pop it out and it looks just fine without it. I always think it's cool if they can include a missile that's non-intrusive like that. It's always a plus for me. I just realized I forgot to pop on his weapons, so here are his weapons there in tank mode, which makes him look even better. And of course, like I said, the fact that he has actual working rubber treads makes a huge difference to me. It just makes the tank mode so much more satisfying to see it actually roll on rubber treads instead of the usual, tiny wheels inside of the treads thing that Hasbro usually does. They just make the toy feel so much more immersive in my opinion. And yeah, overall, I just think it's a really solid alternate mode that I have no complaints about. So Combiner Wars Megatron has an awesome paint job. He's got actual working treads, a solid design, solid posability, solid alternate mode, and mini-con ports. And those are all the reasons why Combiner Wars Megatron is, in my opinion, a really underrated figure, an underrated Megatron, and one of my favorite figures in my collection.